Welcome to the Sci-Fi Guys. I'm your host, Dave, and with me is Chad and John. Today we are going to be talking about the movie. Well, I guess you could say it's a movie, Finch, but it's the only way you can see it is on Apple Plus or Apple TV or an Apple product. So, yeah. Anyway, but that's what we're going to be talking about today. Tom Hanks is Finch. I just have before we get started, I got a question. What is with Tom Hanks and these movies where he just wants to be the only actor? You know, I mean,
How many people can really carry a movie by themselves?
oh, he can carry it.
That's what I'm saying. That's probably why they went after him. He has a proven track record.
Yes, I will I will agree with that to a point.
They just want another castaway. That's all it was.
That's what I'm like. They wanted a modern day Castaway. That's what I was thinking. It's just
Modern day,
day.
post-apocalyptic.
And what's wrong? Just a sci-fi castaway, a robot instead of a volleyball. It's all good.
At least it taught this time.
Yeah. Okay. Now, all right. I know we're not into the fixing or improving, but wouldn't it have been great if he was searching the shelves and there would have been a Wilson volleyball on the shelf somewhere, and just and he pick it up and just go and put it down or something like that. Just that would have been over the top. That would have been great. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and start. We talked about our show, so now we're gonna talk about some questions for this week, and I am not giving them because I didn't choose this movie. John chose this movie, so he's going to be the one doing the questions. So, John, take it away.
Yeah, all internet forgiving. I got us. So a lot of these questions, I'm just gonna be real. Deal with why Finch is the way he is because I really don't get it in a lot of ways. And starting off with our first question, I think that this will give a little bit of context behind that statement. So the whole film gives us a backstory a little bit on the particular setup with Finch and his dog and these two robots. But even with that backstory, what would drive Finch to create Jeff just for a dog? Like that dog could definitely survive on its own if you just kind of release it and let it go. Survival instinct. So why is Finch going through all this trouble to begin with?
That's a good question, and I thought of that the whole time we watched this movie. I could not wrap my brain around why would he do what he's done. I understand the need for survival, but to do all this just to take care of a dog because it was a little girl's dog who got killed in front of him, I didn't get it. So what would drive him? I guess remorse, because he did say he was a coward, and that's the only thing I can think of is that he was feeling remorseful of doing the actual, seeing that he didn't do anything, that he was nothing was happening. When she was getting basically attacked by this bad guy, and then and he didn't do anything. He just kind of waited there and just like, well, I don't want them to steal my noodles. And I think Chad's kind of checked out on us for a minute, so we're gonna have to go on to your next question, or you need to answer it. How about that? What do you think?
Well, I really couldn't figure out why. I mean, maybe he just went crazy. I mean, fun theory now. Maybe this whole film was about the man just going crazy. And maybe this is all just in his head. That's an easy cop out to talk about movies, but maybe it is the case. Maybe that's why this is all happening to begin with. But really, I can't figure it out. I was hoping you guys would have some ideas because it seems a lot to create an AI that good that learns that fast for a dog. It seems like a lot.
Well, I thought about it was not just for the dog, more for him at the time too. he knew he was dying. But it was more for him as a companion, getting closer in years to teach them for the dog. But yeah, he could have taught that little smaller robot how to keep the dog away from the sunlight. So
This is true. It did have more use, but he really hit the dog thing
yeah,
hard. Well, that being said, obviously the man's smart. He could create some stuff. So my next question is, could he have created more to help him survive on the front end rather than spending all his energy on really two robots, but particularly one because he spent a lot of energy on Jeff for him to be as good as he was.
yeah.
And if
Yeah,
so,
I
what
mean,
would he have created?
Well, here's he could have. I know he's smart in robotics, but darn, he was in a spot underground, have electricity somehow. He could have grown his own food, found seeds, and grown a hydroponic garden. I mean, he's not just going out scavenging.
yeah, or you make a robot that can scavenge for you.
Yeah,
You
but
know, and then you wouldn't even have to take the spray paint and mark the big X or have the thing and drive the big, you know, dump truck or whatever.
I,
You know,
I
just
like that.
have it go do what you need to get done. That way, you wouldn't be taken away from what you're doing. Okay, here's a list. I need human consumption food. We need dog consumption food. And what else? Hey, I look for these are pieces of equipment if you can find them. Blah 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 blah. You know.
Yeah, this is true.
Yeah.
I definitely, guys, I think he could have done a whole lot more, which we'll kind of hit on in a moment too. Which actually, why not? Why not go ahead and hit it now? What would you guys have done differently if you were in a spot? I know we have the garden idea, we have the creating a scavenger robot idea, but overall, what would you do differently?
I'd be having some drones or
Yep.
something that would be able to go out and meet other people, or some way to interact with other people. Um, you know, again, I don't want to get too in the weeds yet on some of the downfalls of this movie, but human beings are not designed to be alone.
No.
They need companionship. They need to be able to talk. I mean, even if it's arguing, you still need it. And I just think that if I was doing something, I'd want to. Well, one, I would hey, I would make sure I had more than just a 38 special revolver. When I needed to go meet other people, and just say, okay, hey, we will meet. Okay, now, all right, you put your gun down, I put my gun down. Okay, or you can keep it in your holster. I'll keep mine in my holster. We'll talk, and then let's just see where it goes from here, or something, like that. Um, you know, again, when the end of the world comes, you are going to get people just like the story he told that are the human race wasn't killed by the solar flare. It was killed by greed and freaking out because there was no food.
Yeah.
How about you, Chad? What would
Yeah.
you have done differently?
I can't agree with you. It's like I would have done drones and find some way to communicate. I mean, that you could at least find a radio because I know most movies we've seen in post-apocalyptic or what you we're gonna see, we're probably gonna watch. They find a way to communicate.
Hey, CB radio will
Yeah,
be around forever. Breaker
ham
19,
radio will
I was
always
about to
be
say,
out there.
why is the first thing this man did not create was just a simple ham radio? Would have saved him a lot of issues.
Yeah,
Yeah, and when you're gonna get, and if you talk to somebody else who's done the same thing, I think you're gonna get two people on the same wavelength. You're not gonna get people that are just out there to steal all the
No.
food and all this. You're gonna get another intellect that you're gonna be able to talk about.
Yeah, you're gonna get someone else who's not in fight or flight. Because if they've gone through the trouble of making radio, you've gone through the trouble of making radio. You're doing something a little different than just surviving.
Yeah.
You're looking ahead. Which all of that conversation brings us to my next point. Humans are made to connect, but man, Finch just seems so against anybody else. And I get the trauma he has from that one situation and survival in general, but at the same time, like, surely as smart as he was, he understands that like not everyone out there is going to be that. So why is he just so against people at this
Because he's
point?
from Castaway. You know, I mean, I don't know why he's so. I mean, you could tell even with his story when he was talking about
Yeah.
the
That's-
people that he worked with, even talking about that, how he got recognition because he did a lot of stuff on his own, but he did work with the team, but he didn't enjoy it. He was a loner. I mean,
yeah,
you see people. Go
he
ahead,
was
Chad.
he was a glorified extrovert. Introvert.
Introvert. I was gonna say, yeah, definitely a if you got a peg meter, he was definitely pegged over for the introvert side.
Without any doubt.
Yeah, yeah. I guess that's the only reason I can think why he was so adverse. One, he didn't get along with others. Maybe hey, he was probably bullied when he was a kid. Who knows? And he
Who
just
knows?
didn't work well
Clearly
with
he had
others.
problems before this film.
Exactly, he had problems, and then seeing what happened with the girl and her mother, it just kind of
Added added to.
amped everything up. Yeah,
Yeah,
added it.
But the
that's
thing
it.
is, that was the only story he told. Working with was in college. It was chose had to work with a team. Saw a girl and mom get killed because they wouldn't give up the food. Well, there's something else happened to him. That was the only stories you heard. There's got to be another way. Because remember, he woke up and realized, oh crap, we're near a hospital or somewhere that's big that people be drawn to. Oh, it's a trap. It's a setup. How did he know that was a setup?
Because he's thinking
Good
like them.
questions.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it really is a good question, Chad. Why? Well, I mean, I guess he's just so adverse to other people. He's like, hey, this is a place where there would be lots of people at some point. There's probably people still around.
Yeah, and like, what if the people that chased him weren't even like bad guys necessarily? What if they were legit just like, why is this guy coming into our space? Or like, what if we can help him? We'll never know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would like to say, hey, if the apocalypse comes or whatever, hey, come to my house. We'll take care of you. Let's work together and see what we can do. That doesn't mean when you drive
Yeah.
up my driveway or walk up my driveway, you're not going to have a gun pointed in your face, until I know what your
Yeah, but
intentions
we'll
are.
talk it out.
But
We'll figure it
we'll
out.
talk it out. It's not one of these. We're not in the mentality of shoot first, ask questions later. It's okay. We need to talk about this. What do we do? So and
Yeah.
I don't know. There was so many. Again, there's so many things about this movie that I enjoyed, but I was just like, really, really, okay, yeah. Go with your next question. I'm looking forward to this one.
I would say, and we've watched a lot of movies in general. We've watched a lot with robots in general. However, to me, Jeff as a robot is very similar to Chappie, and I'm just wondering how you guys would compare these two in general.
I think Chappie was 1.0 Finch. 1.0 Jeff. Jeff is definitely 2.0.
Jeff is 2.0. Well, I think Jeff was able. You were able to directly. He was able to directly feed information into him, while Chappie had to experience it. If that makes sense, you
Yeah.
know, because we already mentioned. There was so many issues with Chappie and how he came about doing it. I think that if he would have had more time, because even Jeff said, "Hey, if you unplug me now, I'm only going to be at 76% of what you want, and that's not enough." I think there is a difference on how each of them got their information. Chappie basically was,
Had to learn.
yeah, he was learned. He had a he was okay. Okay, so you've got the people that are book smart, and then you got the people that have to learn on the job training. Chappie was on the job training. Jeff was book smart. You know, he could get it. He could understand the concepts, but until he actually did it, I don't think he quite got it. While Chappie that was the only way he knew how to learn.
Yeah, I think that's entirely accurate. It's almost like Jeff had all the knowledge up front, like you're saying. He just had to figure out how to be in a body. Chappie had to figure it all out at once.
Yeah.
And so I think in terms
Chappie
of
kinda
like
got thrown there.
intelligence,
Yeah.
they're pretty similar in terms of intelligence.
Mhm.
Finch was, or Jeff was just given kind of a an edge up on the front end as opposed to having to learn it all, like you say. So
Well, and Chappie, I think, um, the way they designed him. Obviously, he was a police officer, so I thought he
yeah,
looked pretty cool. You know, while Finch was
absolutely.
just kind of thrown together, and there was so many things that were, um, like his chest plate. You know, for the longest time, it's like, why is that there? Oh, that's to open up a can of dog food. Really?
Yep, yep. Which
It
I
was
will
built
say
for a
overall, Jeff
purpose.
had a better babysitter. Finch, much better babysitter.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. Finch was trying to do the right thing and teach him before his demise, while Chappie, on the other hand, were criminals trying to use
Let's
him
make
for
money.
criminal organization stuff.
Mommy.
Yeah, mommy. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's
We're at our next. That's all the questions, right? Yeah. That's
yep.
all the questions. Okay. Now we're at our next segment. Okay, plot holes. All right. What did you guys see? Because I mean, there was a few that are, to me, blatantly obvious, but I want to see if you guys noticed any. So, John, Chad, what'd y'all see? You guys
The
thought was
movie.
okay, not the movie, but just
I
aspects
mean,
in the
in all
movie.
fairness, they are telling a story. I'll give it that. I think some of the bigger plot holes we've talked about a little bit, like why is he so focused on the dog against people in general. Um, Now, when we talk about fixing or improving, I think I
We'll get to
mentioned
that.
part of what could be a fix, and we'll get to that in a second. But I think the bigger plot holes are still just that idea of he created an AI that could have done so much more for him. Why are we so focused on the dog? I think that's my biggest of big plot holes that just really should be resolved.
Okay, I can see that. Chad, how about you?
Kind of agree with that, but like, hey, he knew he knew when the storm come. He basically was going to leave and knew he had to leave somehow. Something. Why didn't he already had prep wise, food wise? Hey, I'm gonna go ahead and go and get gone.
Yep. Yeah.
But he had to wait for the robot. But okay, you got the robot. Why don't they teach him how to drive? That hey, you just drive. I'm gonna go back in and sleep and get to Cindy. Go ahead and just go nonstop.
Okay, I can see it. Okay, so all right, so here's some of the plot holes that I saw. One, let's start with the RV, as you mentioned. Okay, so first of all, how does this RV run? Is it all electric? Is it diesel and electric? What is it?
It's Diesel.
It's Diesel.
Okay, well, gasoline, gasoline, diesel, whatever, goes bad after 7 months of not use. Where did he get the fuel from? I mean, if it's just been sitting there doing nothing, I mean, I'm assuming it's diesel because he had the big um, dump truck, and that was a diesel.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming it was diesel also. So we could say it goes a little longer, but the way he talked when they ran the RV underneath the overpass, and and Jeff was trying to tell him, "Hey, with the extensions, we can't have the big solar panel that you were using earlier." And then when they destroyed it, then they was like, "Oh, forget it, it's over. We can't do it now. It's impossible." But yet they made it to the
Mhm.
end.
And
How?
further.
If that solar panel was the what gave everyone power, um, and it was destroyed, so how did that work? Okay, second plot hole. Since we're talking about power, how is Jeff and I can't remember the little dog Rover thingy's name. Not the dog, but the other one. How are
Dewey?
they charged? They never see him plug in. It was just, was it nuclear power plant? What was it? I mean, I just you don't
No, you're
know. It
right.
doesn't say. Okay,
I
and then
kept
the
waiting
final
for
one.
Jeff to be plugged in, and he just was never.
Yeah, I figured, he's like, hey, I need some time alone. Go plug in, and then it shut him down or whatever. You know, I don't know, but they never did that. Okay, and then the last one, the ozone layer is Swiss cheese. There's all these holes in it. That's why we can't walk outside and he puts his hand out and then it fries. But then they get to California or the West Coast, and then hey, we can go outside. The dog can run around. From then on, it's all fine. And it's like, well, what happened to the Swiss ozone? Doesn't just have a hole on the East Coast, and the West Coast is fine. I mean, I just that I didn't get
Yeah.
it all. And then the final thing is, where in the heck does that dog go to the bathroom at? I'm sorry, when he was down in the down thing, and even in the RV, I'm
You peed
sorry, a
on
dog is
Jeff.
going to want to do what a dog's going to want to do. It's going to want to go out there, dig a hole, and do its business, and it can't because it can't go out in the sun because otherwise it's going to fry itself.
The most iconic scene I liked was at the beginning when, oh, I'm not gonna like this person. I'm just gonna pee on your legs real fast.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay. So let's get to that point of the show where everyone is waiting for. Okay, how are we going to fix or improve this movie? I'm going to start with John, since you're the one that chose this movie. How would you either fix this movie or how would you improve it?
All right,
Go.
so more backstory, general. I mean, I understand we say it's a huge solar flare, but like that could have been predicted, and there could have been a lot more prep from everybody in general, and then maybe not predicted in terms of size. So like, hey, we could have seen that coming. So I need more backstory as to why it was so drastic. Um, Also, just in general, that idea of for Finch to made a lot of the decisions he made, I need some form of okay, he's going delirious because of radiation, something, because he reads the book and it's like, well, how does this affect me? But I think we need a little more story there. On the whole, I would love to see a good old character arc or redemption where maybe he does meet someone on his way to safety and he's able to help them where he failed the other family. I think that would be an awesome redemption arc that we could have seen within the span of the film that we didn't get. Or maybe even that's what Jeff helps him overcome, and then he's able to survive a little more. I don't know. In general, a ham radio, talking to anybody, because if California has been gold this whole time, why is everyone not going to California, and why are they not telling other people? Why are there not a billion signs saying, hey, go this way, it's safe? That should definitely be a thing. And I think that pretty well wraps up my fixing.
Okay, Chad, how about you?
Mm, Gotta agree with John. Ham radio should at least some kind of communications. Why in the world they get to San Francisco and it was all safe? You can walk outside and be fine. They should have known, like most movies. Hey, come here. It's a safe haven. It's fine. We're thriving. They try to get together. You lose the fight or flight mentality. Now this movie could have shaved some stuff off in travel time, but the other than that, besides ham radio, why in the world did he see the why not a newer um, RV instead of the what he had?
The 1984 version?
Yeah,
Yeah, well, you could tell that thing had been heavily modified
Yeah.
because it doesn't have anything to do with that kind of just the wheelbase and all that. So it was
Maybe
definitely
though.
done.
Do we ever get a definitive? It's a certain year.
Yes, he did say
Yeah.
1984.
No. I'm talking about that the film is set in.
Oh, I don't remember, and I don't know how long after they're at compared to when it all started. What I mean, and those are some of the things that I would put in there. Okay, we need some details. Like, okay, so where we're at is 15 years after the solar flare. Boom. Okay, so we know. Okay, this is what happened in 15 years. Um, I agree with what you guys said earlier. We could have taken out some of the dialogue of everything. Again, you guys have already pretty much beat it to death uh, being able to contact somebody else and let's get some closure, some fixer on this. But I would have liked to have seen Finch, not Finch, Jeff and the dog after they went to the Golden Gate Bridge. Okay, where do you want to go next? And then they have this conversation, him and the dog, or try to figure out where they're going to go next. And then you see them driving off in the RV to that next location. Um, Something along that line, just to kind of give us a little bit more closure on, okay, they're out there surviving. And it would have been cool if they could have met somebody, even a person, and this is dog, and introduces
Absolutely.
himself, at that point. And they had a dog too. That would have been even cool, then the two dogs, and have fun or whatever, something like that. Just it was left open, and it was like you guys said, no backstory, and I don't know, just so with that, let's give it our rating. Okay, we are going to rate this on a scale of 0 to 5 lightsabers. 0 to 5 lightsabers. John, since you get the one, since you chose it, give us your rating.
All right. If this was based on the first time I watched it, it'd be a solid 3, just based on story alone. Because it's a good story overall, even with all the plot holes. It's just easy to watch, get drawn in emotionally. However, watching it from the sci-fi perspective, and this time it would be like a 1. So I'm just going to average those out to like a 2.
It's okay. 2 lightsabers. Chad, how about you?
I give it middle of the road, about 2.5.
Okay. Well, I think I'm actually a little bit more. What's the word I'm looking for?
Generous.
Critical of this. I'm giving it 1 lightsaber. I've seen it before, and it's. I think we mentioned it. Either we mentioned it off air or we mentioned it right at the beginning. It's Castaway in a post-apocalyptic time. I mean, tell us a different story. Give us something better than this. I mean, Apple TV has some really good stuff on there.
Mm-hmm.
To me, this one was, you made this movie because of Tom Hanks. If you would to take Tom Hanks out of this and put anyone else in here and try to tell the same story, blah. No, that's not gonna. I mean, that's why I give it 1.
Indeed,
All
and
right,
agreed.
all right. So the next thing is, yeah, please contact us. All right. We can be contacted right here at these sci-fi guys. It's on Twitter, X. You can email us, thesci-fi-guys at gmail.com. But the easiest way to do it, you just comment below, down below in right here on YouTube. Comment, say, hey, you know what? I'd really love to see for you guys to do this movie or that movie or whatever, and we'll do our best to do it. We have our schedule out for the rest of the year. However, things change. We've already, one of the movies that I picked, which is coming up in like 2 weeks, I already switched it because Chad's actually watching something, and I said, "Oh, you need to see this first." And so I was like, "Okay, now's a good time. Let's go ahead and do that." So, our next movie, That's right. That's what I got to tell you. The next movie. All right. Our next movie is one I have never heard of. John has never heard of. Chad chose it, and hopefully it'll be comedy. I think it's from the 80s.
1990s.
90s, Spaced Invaders. Okay. it looks like a comedy. I'm seriously hope it is.
It's a B movie, so it's not like the.
Okay, so it's a B movie. Great. We love B movies actually, because some of those are some of the best movies that we've seen. Not like quality wise, but storytelling, they're actually pretty good. You know, Buckaroo Banzai was fantastic. I mean, that's what some of the B movies are, the ones that you want to go back and we're like, hey, if we would have been doing the lightsaber ratings, what would we rate those at? And then you have to think about in there, would you want to watch it again? And Buckaroo Banzai is like one I definitely would watch all the time. It was great because you see something different every time. All right. Oh yeah. I think that's everything for everybody. We appreciate you guys listening in. Please subscribe, like, all that good stuff. Hey, if there's somebody else that you want to tell about ours, share. You can go on the bottom and just share that. Just click on that little button that says share and share it with somebody else who loves science fiction like we do. And with that, crash and burn, guys.
Burn.
Crash and burn.